Hello, people. Wow, what an exciting episode we have for you today. I cannot wait. But quickly, before we go into the episode, I want to tell you guys about Patreon. We have a Patreon account, which is a service where essentially it's basically you can become a premium subscriber of Freshly Grounded. As you guys know, Freshly Grounded is completely free. You can access it on YouTube, on iTunes, on Stitcher, on most places where you can get podcasts, completely free. We do not charge for it, and we want to keep it that way, and we have every intention of keeping it that way. We will keep it that way. Let's be honest. But if you become a premium subscriber on Patreon for around £5 a month, that's how much it costs. You get a few perks. The main one is that you get the podcast one day earlier than everybody else on audio. So you get an early release of the podcast, but you also, along with a few other perks, you get to support us. We are running everything here very, very, very organically, and by you guys supporting the podcast, if it has benefited you ever, or if you love our content, being a premium subscriber or being a Patreon of our podcast really helps us. It helps us with equipment. It helps us with getting guests. It helps us with kind of improving our podcast, improving the audio quality, the video quality, maybe one day getting our very own podcast studio. So there's a bunch of stuff we could help with. So if you do feel like the podcast benefits you enough to invest just over one cup of coffee a month for the price of £5, and I'm sure eventually a cup of coffee will cost £5. I spent £3.50 on my coffee this morning, so for an extra £1.50 you can support us by going to patreon.com/freshly grounded. That's patreon.com/freshly grounded. Also, we have launched a Twitch account, which means that we will now, inshallah, from next week onwards, be hopefully going live and live streaming every single episode of Freshly Grounded. And so please do go ahead and follow us on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/freshly grounded. And lastly, please do subscribe to us on YouTube. Our YouTube is again the same, youtube.com/freshly grounded. And by subscribing to us, it's completely free. It really doesn't take much effort, but what it does is it does allow us to be able to track kind of who's listening to our podcast, how many people are listening to our podcast, and who is kind of a loyal subscriber or loyal listener to the podcast. It also helps us with numerous things. You know, the more subscribers that we have, we can showcase to companies and hopefully bring on more people as partners to Freshly Grounded, and so on and so forth. So, but in all of those above, you more than anything will be supporting us and you'll be helping us to grow. So if you believe in our product and you like what we do and you want us to continue and improve, then all you will be doing is basically supporting us and helping us get to our goals by doing that. We are brought to you by 59, that's 50_NINE on Instagram. 59 is an amazing, my favorite cafe ever. It's a wellbeing cafe in Hertfordshire, just outside of London in St Albans. And if you have the chance to go, or if you don't have a chance to go, make the effort to go. We've had some listeners who've actually travelled from America to the UK and made a special road trip from wherever they are in the UK to 59 just to check it out. It really is amazing. They got freshly ground coffee, fresh snacks, fresh food. I was there this week. Amazingly friendly staff, and it is also the business of Sam, my co-host, who isn't here this week. But go there, quote Freshly Grounded, and you get £1 off anything. So that's a shot. You could get a shot of espresso for basically nothing. Also brought to you by izaha.com. That's izaha.com. That's my hat brand. We sell Arabic style caps, hats, t-shirts, jumpers. Do check that out. Also, Freshly Grounded, if you chuck that in the cart, you get 20% off. And you can also buy Freshly Grounded merch, like Freshly Grounded mugs and tops at freshlygrounded.com. So make sure you check out our site. Also brought to you by Sunnah Remedies. Sunnah Remedies is a company that is trying to revive a sunnah of hijama. So cupping is something and they do wet cupping especially, but also wet cupping, dry cupping. They do Graston therapy, they do sports massages, and this is something that we've seen a lot, with Olympians, with high level professionals like Moeen Ali, who get cupping done, and I'm not going to go into the science of it, mainly because I'm not knowledgeable enough on it, but it's a very, very, very good treatment. If you want to find out more about it, or if you want to get cupping done, head over to sunnaremedies.co.uk. all of the information is there. And guys, if you quote Freshly Grounded when you speak to them, you'll actually get £10 off of your session. So a general hijama session or cupping session costs £45, so you'll get for £35, which is amazing. So please do check them out. That's sunnaremedies.co.uk. And last but not least, before I talk about the actual episode with Moeen Ali, if you want to sponsor Freshly Grounded, or you have a company and you think they will benefit from the listeners of Freshly Grounded, do check out our stats and our more information, and fill out the form at the bottom of the page at freshlygrounded.com/partner. Oh, I say that's last but not least, but we are also brought to you by FeedSource. FeedSource provides custom Instagram photos for your product on demand. This is a company that my brother owns and runs from these very offices, and has made life easier, cheaper, and much more efficient for hundreds of brands. Our team have created content for the likes of Hilton, Dell and Deliveroo, as well as many other startups and small businesses who are just looking to get high quality images of their products. FeedSource is designed to be super simple to use. All you do is visit feedsource.com, that's feedsauce.com, and explore our different style of images to find one that matches your brand. You then choose how many images you'd like to be created, and if you're in the UK, you can have your products collected the next working day completely free. Your images are then created and delivered to you through your online brand panel within 7 days. Prices start from as low as £129 for 9 custom images. We don't use stock imagery. We are very against stock imagery or any kind of template. It really is 100% bespoke images created for your product. You can get 25% off your order using the code FG25. Just go to feedsource.com to place your order. That's feedsauce.com. FeedSource, high quality custom images. I messed that up. I'm trying to read the script too fast. FeedSource, high quality custom Instagram photos of your product on demand. Remember, use code FG25 at checkout to get 25% off your first order. Now let's talk about the episode, shall we? Guys, I have been trying to get Moeen Ali on this podcast for a year and a half. I first messaged him in, I think, May 2017. He has been amazing. I've been pestering him so much, and he's been so patient and kind with me, and I owe him a lot of thanks for that. But guys, when you listen to this episode, you will see, I don't want to praise him too much, because you will see yourself how much of a beautiful brother he is, how humble, how kind. He doesn't seek fame or attention. He just is a guy who loves cricket. He's amazing at it, and he wants good for the world, and he wants good for people, and he loves people, and just an amazing interview. It's been a long time in the making. It's a very rare interview because as you guys will know, Moeen Ali, he gets asked to do a lot of TV, as you guys can imagine, and a lot of interviews and stuff, and he really doesn't do many, and so it's a rare interview, and this is one of the first times he really goes into depth talking about him being a Muslim and famous, how he prays during matches, how his teammates react to him being practicing Muslim. We speak about the infamous wristband incident when he wore a Free Palestine wristband, and then he was all over the news because he took a quote unquote political stance, and kind of how he dealt with that, the death threats that followed that. He goes into that. He talks about being a father, and at the very end, it's worth staying for the end, guys, because at the very end, he does something that he said he's always wanting to do, but he's never done, and that is give advice to young Muslims from the heart. It's an amazing interview. I had such a fun time making it. I'm so thankful to Moeen for allowing this to happen. I'm actually going to put out a video on my YouTube channel, so if you search Faisal, that's Faisal on YouTube, I should be one of the first to come up, and I'm going to try to put out a video like either today or in the coming week, basically explaining how I got this interview, because Moeen Ali is like the perfect person who embodies what we try and push out at Freshly Grounded, and that is that, currently there's this crazy idea of what practicing Muslims or Muslims are like or that they're like some outsiders, etc., etc. But we created Freshly Grounded because we wanted to push this idea that you can be a British Muslim, you can be both, you can be Muslim and British, and you can love your British culture, and you can love being a Muslim, and you can be passionate about your religion, and you can not be an outsider of society. You can still be a person who is fun, young, cool, and on top of all things, successful. And Moeen Ali really embodies that, because you can just see by looking at him that he's a practicing Muslim, but he is literally at the highest of his field that you could possibly be. And so I've always wanted to get him on the podcast, and so he really is an embodiment of what we believe in, and I want to put out a video based around that for that reason. And guys, without any further ado, this was my interview with Moeen Ali, and this is Freshly Grounded, episode 65, I believe. Let's get into it.
And welcome to Freshly Grounded, the brand new podcast by best friends Faisal and Sam.
Huh?
I said welcome to Freshly Grounded,
No, after that bit.
the brand new podcast
And after that bit?
by best friends Faisal and Sam.
Really?
Boom, we are live. And so I think the dream of every young boy, especially in the UK, especially where we've grown up, is to grow up and be a professional athlete. And for the first time, I think, ever on Freshly Grounded, we have someone who, on behalf of us boys, has fulfilled this dream, and alhamdulillah has been kind enough to let us into his hotel room and to have a discussion with him. Alhamdulillah, we are joined by Moeen Ali. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi aki.
Alhamdulillah, how are you?
Good, alhamdulillah, good, not too bad.
Bro, it's first of all, like I said to you off air, you must hate me because I've been pestering you for so long for this interview. Do you know when it actually started? I don't know if you remember where we met. Do you remember?
Yeah.
So it was that time when
Excel.
Yeah. They
Yeah.
did the Mansion. What was it called? Something.
Light upon light.
Light upon light.
Yeah.
And I heard you were there, and I bought some Zaha hats, some of those like hats that say salam and stuff. And I managed to somehow get in, because I wasn't even working with Iman Chan at that time.
No.
But I think Musa or someone got me into the back, and they gave you one of those hats. I think since then, I've just been like pestering you so much, like to try and get you on the podcast, and you've been so like kind and patient about it. And I, to be honest, expected you to just be like, sorry, like I'll just have, and I wouldn't have felt any type of way about you. But you've been so kind, alhamdulillah, to like actually agree and to do the podcast. I know we tried a few times, but obviously you're a very busy man, so jazakallah khair for that.
No, barakallah fiqh. You know, actually, firstly, I've still got that hat.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, I still got it. Yeah.
Alhamdulillah.
It's I've not worn it for a while because the weather's been so good, but yeah, I still got the hat. And secondly, I said I'll do it, so inshallah. Just timing, obviously. Actually, a couple of times I forgot, to be honest with you. And then coming to London this time, I was like, right, I'll get it done, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah. So I kind of mentioned you before, but generally, it's Freshly Grounded is like less of an interview, more of just like a chilled out chat. But when we do have guests, especially of your caliber, I have so many questions to shoot at you, so it might end up looking like sound like an interview.
Nah, bro, bang them out, no worries.
But bro, the thing that I wanted to kind of initially go into is the fact that, in my opinion, you're probably like the only, or like one of the only, I'd say, like mainstream sports stars that is like openly a practicing Muslim. Not openly, I mean, not that people are like close up, but like you're not ashamed of it, I'd say. And so my question to you is, do you ever feel like a responsibility of like representing that kind of type of person, not community, but just like, are you aware that that's kind of a stance that you have?
It's a tough one. I get asked the question quite a lot, and it's a tough one because as much as you know there's a responsibility, you also feel Islamically as well, you try and be your best, and obviously, first of all, you do everything for Allah, and you try and behave and all that kind of stuff. And there's times where you don't, or you just like, everyone gets weak at some stage and all that kind of stuff. And I guess sometimes, and then what actually kicks in is that actually you're representing not just yourself or your family. I look at it as I represent my parents as well, as much as anything. And then obviously there's the wider Muslim audience, and there's people that look up to you, there's kids that look up to you, Muslims and non-Muslims. So you do have to be on your best behavior and try and inspire other people to do what you're doing. And yeah, I mean, it's not a burden, but it's more of that responsibility is there. But I do feel as long as my cricket is there and I'm playing and all that kind of stuff, you always got a chance to make an impact on somebody or in some way. And you don't really have to go out. I would say, and I've spoken to a lot of a few scholars and stuff before, and my dawah is probably a little bit different. It's not going out there talking about Islam as much, but it's even just to see a Muslim on TV maybe playing cricket or doing something. A lot of the guys will say that's pretty much enough. You don't have to go out there and promote Islam or do this, do that, and naturally you'll do stuff anyway.
Well, if anything, you're showing that you can be a practicing Muslim but be at the very top of your game and have success, which is something that I suppose everyone has a concern about. I remember when I first started practicing, one of my concerns was that I actually remember I've said this publicly so many times, that I started practicing in university in Cardiff, and then I came over back to London after my 3 years in Cardiff, and I remember just like breaking down in my sister's house and crying, and my family was so confused. They were like, "Why are you crying?" I said, "I feel like I actually have come back to London, and I'm not friends with any of the people that I used to be friends with because I'm not into that kind of stuff anymore, and I feel like I have grown this love for the deen, but I actually I feel like the only people I know who are practicing are either old people or people who just aren't like cool or fun or successful." And so then after that, I made it like my mission to show other young people who fall in love with the deen or just want to like tread on the right path, that there are so many people who love the deen, but they actually are young and cool or trying to chase their dreams and trying to be successful. I think that you're an embodiment of that, and just showing that you can be that guy and completely just try and chase your dreams and be at the highest level of success that you can be at in your field.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't always practicing or praying and stuff like that. Actually, I was quite far away from that. And so when I came into the deen, I was born a Muslim, but when I started practicing, I felt like for the first time in my life, I'm doing something for myself, and it's good. And if anything, it's going to help me with my cricket. Not in terms of all of a sudden you become a brilliant player, or you still got to work hard and do all the things or anything like that. But it's more, I took it out of my mind that being an athlete or being an international cricketer is not true success. It's more a hobby, a job, something I'm good at, and I get paid for it. And if I can, because it's on TV and it's on the wider audience sees it, this is my way of showing that you can be a practicing person in any field of religions or anything you like, and you can still play and mingle in and all that kind of stuff. And I was never ashamed of it, because I felt in my life this is the one thing that I can honestly say that it's the one good thing at the time that I'm doing in my life. And I was always quite staunch on that, and I thought, nothing can stop you now. And actually took a lot of pressure off me in terms of, before everything was about cricket, and I chased it so much that actually I realized that actually when you turn your back on it slightly, it will come after you. So yeah, I mean, in my mind, the most important thing was that actually this is not true success. It is in this worldly stuff, but obviously we know that true success is getting into Jannah, inshallah.
Inshallah. May Allah grant us all Jannah.
Inshallah.
So one thing that you notice on your social media actually is like the banter that you have a lot with and the camaraderie you have with your teammates. And so what's it like what's their reaction to kind of, I mean, I suppose that there's many times that you're playing around them or even making the hour, doing your other card, and what is their reaction to it? Because it's on the outside looking in, it seems like such a beautiful friendship.
It is, and my teammates are quite young. Most of the guys are similar age or a bit younger. And I think initially they're all a bit like, this guy looks a bit serious, or they're not sure. And I just wanted to be myself, and I really enjoy banter, and I enjoy, that sort of life, and not too serious, and just trying to enjoy. And the cricket banter is slightly different. A lot of people won't get it, but it's actually very, very funny, and it's quite dry and all that kind of stuff. So I really enjoy that.
Do you like dry humor?
I really enjoy dry humor.
Dry humor.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. And so, like, I just kept going with it, and it's something I always told myself to enjoy myself and do that. But then there's also times where you have a serious conversation with them and just talk about life, just generalizing and stuff like that. And then you actually realize that you actually had a serious conversation for once. Most of the time it's all banter, and then the other time you have your time to talk about whatever you want in life. And the banter is amazing, man. Like, we have such a good laugh, and you almost have to sometimes stick up for yourself as well in that sort of environment. So, and I'm not afraid to do that at all.
You even though you're not you are very young and you're not old by any stretch of the margin, but you are married and you have children, Allahumma barik. And so do your teammates ever come to you for kind of advice on that kind of side of life? Because I'd assume that in that sense you're probably more mature than most of them, in the sense that you have got a family and children and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the guys. A lot of the guys are actually married now, or they've settled down and stuff. So we don't really talk about it too much.
That makes sense, because when often when I go out with my friends, if my wife knows some of their wives, she'll like I'll come home from being out with the boys, and she'll be like, oh, did he tell you like any update on like this, or how's he finding being a father and that kind of stuff? I'm like, I have no idea. I didn't ask. She's like, what do you guys talk about? Because as girls, like, that's like all they talk about, like exactly, children, all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, I have no idea. And now it's got to the point where when I come home from a night out, out with the boys, she might say something like, because she might know one of the wives, and she'll be like, has he said like what it's like to like be like a dad again, anything like that? And then she'll answer her own question by mocking me. She'll be like, I don't know, like that.
Yeah.
It's
exactly the same. Like you go and the guy's like, how's your son? Yeah, he's all right, mate.
That's it.
You know what I mean? Yeah, he's all right. What more do you want to know? Like, exactly. He loves football, he loves cricket. Done. And same the other way is when I ask them, he's all right, it's good, or she's all right.
That's all you need to know, though, isn't it? Really,
yeah, exactly. And then you just talk about anything else.
Yeah. Bro, I was watching your documentary earlier, parts of it that you did, and you went back to your hometown and you were talking about growing up there. And one thing that I noticed that you were kind of touching on is the fact that you have brothers that you grew up with, and that you seemed, from what it sounded like, you seemed quite close to your brother, to at least one of your brothers, your older brother, you were saying. And I was really intrigued with that, because I'm so close to my older brother. He's my best friend. I work with him. I spend the majority of my time with him. He's my role model. I look up to him for everything. I'm constantly seeking advice. And even to the point where yesterday or the day before, when I had DM'd you, and then I was like, I must have said something like, I said, bro, but anyway, so this is how the conversation went. So I said to him, bro, listen, look, I think this thing's going to happen with Moeen Ali, like, and he's like, that's sick, and I'm like, bro, I said, I know, bro, but I've got to this stage with him so many times, I really want to say something, but I don't want to like be pestering him. And he's like, bro, just say these words, just be like, all right, cool, sounds good, I'll just give you a nudge in a day or two. And then I literally messaged you, I was like, all right, cool, bro, I'll just give you a nudge in a day or two if you don't message me. So I go to him for everything. So do you have that kind of relationship with your brothers?
Yeah, me, my two brothers, and my sister were very, very tight. We always have been. My older brother is the guy I go to if I want more of the senior chat, if that makes sense, or the cricket, or we basically talk, and we're very, very close. It's like, we see each other with a big hug and all that kind of stuff. And so yeah, and my younger brother, he's a year younger than me, so we've always been tight. From my age group, it's different sort of tight, if that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, we're very, very close. We talk pretty much every day. and most of the time, when things are not going well in terms of cricket and stuff, they're the guys who will always motivate me and keep me going and things like that. And alhamdulillah, we're very, very close, and inshallah forever.
I think one thing that I'm really intrigued in, I think that the listeners would be the most intrigued in, is like, when you see sports stars especially, or like famous sports stars or famous celebrities, you feel so detached to them and you feel like that's their life, this is my life. But there's a thing about like being Muslim that almost makes you feel like you know a person. And so do you get that a lot? Do you get told that a lot, that like a person feels that closer to you than like a regular?
Yeah, 100%.
And do you feel like you are aware of your celebrity status or like your fame?
You know what? It's difficult because like I don't like to use the word fame, or
you come across like that.
So I don't like it. But then there's people out there that see you as like the role model, or oh my God, I've just seen Moeen Ali. And sometimes you walk past and you're shopping or whatever, and it's like you can hear people saying, "Oh, there's Moeen Ali," and I will just put my head down and go, not because of arrogant or.
But it's awkward, isn't it?
But it's awkward. The last thing I want to do is stop, turn around.
Hey guys, it's me.
Yeah, and sometimes if one guy takes a picture with you, and then like a few guys click on around, and you're in a busy road, and it's like there's a bit of a scene, and I'm like, I feel very uncomfortable about it. I understand it, but I feel very uncomfortable with it sometimes. And sometimes you're busy and you want to do or you're doing something, or you got to go somewhere and you get stopped. But alhamdulillah, most of the people are very good. If I say, I'm a little bit busy right now, and I know a picture takes 2 minutes, but it's not just the picture. It's like other people might come over, and then if I've taken a picture with you, I'm going to take it with other people as well. And then
the hardest thing must be loving your supporters so much and appreciating how much support they give you, and then balancing that with when you're out and about, having the idea that I love the fact that you guys support me, I love the fact that you guys show me so much love, but I also kind of need to like keep things moving, or like just like, because if you did really stop for everyone or stop for every single picture, I imagine that your family would probably get upset with you. You wouldn't be able to just keep on moving the day. That must be such a big struggle, because you don't ever want to, I suppose, come across as someone who is the type of person that would say no, but then you do want people to respect that kind of distance, I suppose.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, because you look at it from a worldly point of view, and it's like, yeah, okay, I play cricket, and I'm on TV or whatever. But then you look at it, I also sometimes look at it from the other point where it's just cricket, you know what I mean? It's just a game, a sport, and people should be following, and from a personal point of view, I love the people of the Quran, so like people who recite and hafiz or teach it. So they're the guys who I'm like, wow, you know what I mean? Like,
I should actually follow my teacher on Ustad Yahya.
Yeah, I do, yeah. I've never met him.
Bro, if you met, you'd fall in love with him straight away.
Yeah, no, mashallah. I watched some of his videos, and I don't just follow anybody a lot of the time. And I watch his videos, and that is what I'm trying to say. Like, I enjoy his videos, and it seems like he's very mellow, my kind of way.
He is a person. First of all, like, just his characteristics. Like, when you see that kind of person, you think this is the da'wah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Like the way how soft, how kind, he always smiling. Allahumma barik. And do you know what else, bro? Like, even his advice is soft, and his character. But then you see in himself that he's kind of very strict on himself, and that's beautiful to see, because it's like he practices what he preaches, and he just like the Quran, he just loves the Quran, like loves the Quran, teaches it for a living. Like I became one of his students in January, and I love spending time with him, and I know you would too. Anyone who is around him would just love spending time with him.
And I have a teacher at home. He's from Egypt. He's just come over not long ago, I don't think. And he teaches my son, and this guy is like, I don't know, he's just like, I feel like he's amazing, mashallah. Like, he's the way he recites, and when people you see people and they obviously know the Quran, they know the meaning, and they act upon it, they teach, and it's like, wow, man, that is what I aspire to be like that. I would love to be in his shoes. You know what I mean? It's like that. So like for me, I do see a lot of celebrities and other film stars or cricketers and footballers, but unless it's a Liverpool footballer, I don't feel that same thing that I do when I see
That's amazing.
the people of the Quran. Yeah.
Who's the most? Who's the person that you've met that's been the most like amazing person to meet? Because I imagine in your field you've been able to meet some amazing people.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I met. So when I was in school, I met Nelson Mandela. It was So that was. I went to a school called Nelson Mandela School in Birmingham, and then when I was playing cricket a bit younger, there's a guy called Hashim Amla who plays for South Africa, who has a big beard, mashallah, and I saw him play and I was like, wow, like this guy from South Africa playing with a lot of non-Muslims, he's not scared, and that actually inspired me the most probably out of anything. And then I met him a few times before I played for England, and now mashallah we're very good friends. Like I played against him, spent a lot of time with him here and in South Africa, and he's probably the one guy I met and I thought, this is a guy I wanted to meet.
Have you met Mo Salah?
You know what? I went to Anfield last year to their training, and I didn't. He was the one guy I was dying to meet. Right, not dying to meet, but I wanted to meet. And from far, we gave salams from far because he obviously recognised I got a beard and stuff like that, and he obviously knew that I knew who he was. But I'd love to have met him properly. Yeah, but inshallah one day.
Inshallah. It's right now like the biggest. There's like this big craze around Muslim sports stars, and I don't know if that's like by chance because the biggest sports stars right now are Muslim, or because, or it's like because they're Muslim. But right now, the talk of the town are people like Mo Salah, like Khabib Nurmagomedov. Oh yes, I pronounced it right.
Yeah, I follow him as well.
Do you?
And I don't even watch MMA. Like
really?
I hardly watch it. Yeah.
Bro, he it's like, after he wins, bro, like the first thing he says is, like, I just want to praise Allah, alhamdulillah for this, alhamdulillah for my team, for my children, for my family. And even on his Instagram, bro, he's just like constantly giving da'wah.
And yeah, exactly. And it's funny you say that because when I was a kid, and love him or hate him, whatever, Prince Nassim, the boxer, he was exactly the same. So like, I remember the first thing he used to do was, he boxed and he showed his body language the way he did and stuff like that. I personally loved it, and when I was younger, but the first thing was to say, he wasn't afraid to ever say, alhamdulillah, all praises to Allah, the one and only, stuff like that. And that is very inspiring for a young, even a non-practicing Muslim, or it actually stays in people's minds. And going back to this whole sports people and the sport personalities, I think it's without going into detail, I think it's almost like the new dawah. Like it's what youngsters love, football, cricket, MMA, whatever it is, it's proper. And I feel this is what we need to do a bit more. Even coaches, we probably if we got Muslim people who coach football, cricket, whatever it is, learn if they're practicing even better, so they can give dawah in that way as well. And I think that's just the way society is nowadays. People want role models like that, and you'd rather have role models who follow the Prophet than role models who don't.
It's true. SubhanAllah, it's very true. Very, very true. Do you think that there is a level of like when you're well, I'll start with this question actually. When you are playing on the field, because I know cricket matches last so long, how do you deal with the whole praying thing? But I suppose most of the time you're traveling, right?
Yeah, okay. So most of the time you're traveling. Even at home, you always have a lunch break or a tea break, and you have time.
At home much?
Sorry?
Do you play at home much?
Yeah, so like when I say at home, like in Birmingham, we'll play this Edgbaston, it is the main ground there. So, and the grounds all have prayer facilities. Jummah, they'll bring a imam in. So it's like very, it's very easy. Like, the one thing sometimes we don't understand as Muslims is the non-Muslims do understand, and they will do anything most of the time to make you feel comfortable. And as long as you're consistent with everything, for example, you're in a team full of non-Muslims and you pray one day, it's time to pray, and you say, look, I need to pray, and then they will go out their way to help you, or for you to pray and stuff. And then if the next 2-3 days like you're not praying, and they're like, well, why didn't you pray today? Like if as long as you're consistent with everything, they're fine with it. And don't be my message would be never to be afraid of being a Muslim or practicing Muslim in any sort of field when it's time to pray. And they will always understand. Most of the time they will understand and allow you to do what you need to do. Sometimes I'll be fielding and it's time to pray, and I'm like, right, I won't have a chance, I might miss my prayers, and I'll just say to the umpire right there, I said, listen, I need to pray, and he said, right, you can go for 2-3 hours.
Oh really?
Yeah, so it's like,
but then what about your team? Like, is there one less person on the team?
Yeah, but then somebody would come and field for you for 2 hours. So you do have subs in terms
so you
of...
can have that. Okay.
Yeah, but if he gets it, like for example, if it's an injury, he can't then bat and bowl. He can field for you, but he can't bat and bowl for you. So yeah, I mean, somebody will come on and you can just go off and pray. And there's always, I believe from experience that if you really want to pray, nothing can stop you.
Nothing can stop you. Yeah,
nothing can stop you.
I thought that because I think I started practicing 4 years ago when I was 20, and before then, I suppose I would have thought to myself, like, there must be times, like, what, someone can't pray 5 times a day, every day for all their life, like, surely there's something comes up. But alhamdulillah, as much as I thought that, like, for the last 4 years, there's never been a time, sure, there's been times where I've had to get out and pray on the street, or there's been times where, like maybe on a plane or something like that, but I've always managed to pray, alhamdulillah. So it really isn't hard taking 2 minutes out when you need to. Bro, so moving the conversation over slightly, me as like a young Pakistani, when I was a kid, obviously now I'm 24, but when I was a young Pakistani kid, cricket is huge in the Pakistani community, and we used to go around like uncles and aunties' houses for like cricket matches and stuff like that. And like it's kind of like how people are here with the World Cup, football World Cup, that even if people don't watch the World Cup, you'd still see even when people don't watch football, you'll still see when it comes to World Cup, everyone goes crazy. And so it was like that, especially around T20 World Cup when I was growing up. You'd support Pakistan left, right, centre, be screaming for them. And being Pakistan yourself, what is it like playing against Pakistan? Is it different to playing a normal game because you are Pakistani?
I don't know. I've played against Pakistan many times, and I feel you just get on with it. You don't see them as Pakistanis as much in terms of, that's where my mother is from, or that's where my roots are from. You just get on with it, and you be professional. And end of the day, you still gotta try and get them out or get runs against them and win the game for your team. And actually,
would you just give them a little salam?
Oh yeah. There's loads of salams and there's loads of like bit of banter and stuff. But it's mainly when it comes down to it, you want to beat them, and
yeah, of course.
All that kind of stuff never really crossed my mind. Like, he's playing against Pakistan, and I don't know, man. It's like you just get on with it. You just try and be professional with everything, and if anything, you want to beat them even more.
Because you got something. You just
want to beat them. Like you don't want to show like any sort of weakness to anybody in terms of cricket and stuff. So yeah, you just get on with it, man. Like there's no like, they're Pakistanis and stuff. There's banter, we chat, and after sometimes we've been in the same hotel, so then we pray and stuff like that together. But
really?
we chat together for a bit and stuff. But
do you speak Urdu? Or
most of them will speak Urdu, so we speak Urdu with them.
But can you speak Urdu?
I can understand all of it. Speaking it, I can decently.
Okay.
Not great.
But where's your mother tongue, Urdu?
No. So my mother tongue we're from Dadial in Mirpur.
What's that?
So it's in Azhar Kashmir.
Oh, so what's the language of that?
So it's Mirpuri or Patwari or whatever people
okay.
call it. But actually, my grandmother was English.
Okay.
So my dad is half English, or half white, half Pakistani.
I often say, I've said it numerous times, that being born in England, and with my mum even being born in England and being raised in England, like I completely see myself as English as like any of my peers. Like I feel so British, and I love so many things about England, and being English and stuff. And I also accept the fact that I am a Muslim, and I accept the fact that yes, my my mum's parents are from Pakistan and they came over and stuff like that. Do you feel the same, or have you ever been made to feel marginalised, or do you feel like really like, you know what, I'm as British as they get? Because like even now sitting in this hotel room with you, I see you firstly as a Muslim. Maybe that's because you got a really big beard. I don't know, but or maybe that's just because I'm a Muslim as well. So I see you as a brother. But then I would never walk in the room and be like, oh, this is Moeen, Pakistani English, brother. I'll just be like, he's English.
Yeah.
So is that how you feel? Have you been made
I'm
feel different?
no, I'm massively like, I'm exactly the same. So I feel very, very English. I feel I'm just as English as anybody born in England, and although some people might not see it like that, yeah, I am a Muslim first of all, but I am English when it comes to my nationality. I'm as British as everybody else, and I don't see myself as I'm proud of my roots coming from Pakistan, but I don't see myself as a Pakistani or anything like that. When people ask me, I'm from England, and if they say, where are your roots from, then I'll say from Kashmir or whatever it is. But I feel there's no question about it. I feel very English. So yeah, it's not. I know what you mean. Like you kind of sometimes might get generalized as a foreigner or somebody who's not really English. But I think people need to understand that there's a lot of us in England that feel more English than probably they do at times.
Especially with like in this day and age as well. Like you're not. I don't think any country, but especially countries like England and America, it's such a mix of people. I remember seeing something that said that in a couple of years' time, maybe in like a decade or so, the majority of the people in the world will be mixed race, will be from different nationalities. So like Pakistani and English, or Africa and someone from Australia, and that's what it's going to be like in the future. So I think you're right. Like I suppose anyone who does think the other way needs to definitely catch up with their update their vision, basically.
Yeah, 100%. And also, like, our kids will support England. If you look in South Africa, they are the third generation, I think, or maybe even the fourth, and all of them, they might have Gujarati backgrounds, like the majority of the Muslims, or Malaysian backgrounds, but all of them would say we're South African. They all speak South African, the languages and stuff. They don't speak any Gujarati. My son doesn't speak any sort of, Urdu or anything like that. It's a shame in a way, obviously.
I don't want to teach my children any Punjabi. So my mother tongue, I suppose, is Punjabi. Although we all speak English in the house and we speak English with our parents and stuff. But my mother tongue is Punjabi. But I have no intention. I that sounds so bad, because I don't want to come across like I don't like my culture. I love my culture. Like there's a lot of things about Pakistani culture I love, but I actually want to teach my children Arabic, and the reason being not because I'm trying to be an Arab or anything like that, or because I know there's this feeling amongst a lot of people that people who are Muslim who are not Arab are trying to be Arab or something. But the reason I really want to teach my children Arabic is because, well, first I had to learn it myself, but because I want them from day one to understand the Quran.
Yeah,
that's literally
exactly
I would
same,
love that.
Yeah, because there's more benefit in learning Arabic, the language, the Quranic Arabic, whatever it is, than learning Urdu or Persian or whatever it is, any language, Spanish, French, whatever it is, there's, from a Muslim point of view, there's a lot more benefit, obviously, in Arabic. And I'm exactly the same. I want my kids to learn Arabic more than any other language in the world.
Yeah. I need to learn it first myself, but
of course, yeah.
Once I'm trying to get it on lock so I can do that, because I want to be that dad who, like, when my kids come speak to me in English, I like tell them in Arabic. I'm like, I just don't respond to them, or like I tell them, if you want to speak English, go speak to your mum. That's my aim. But yeah, alhamdulillah. Bro, so let's talk a bit about cricket, because you are a cricket player. You're here in London because of cricket. India are playing England around these days. Today there was no cricket, and I'm not huge on cricket, but I understand that it's basically because of the rain you can't play.
Yeah.
Is that just because the ball doesn't bounce and stuff?
No, because it rained so much today that if it rains, the wicket gets wet. So the actual surface you play on becomes wet. The ball becomes wet.
It's called the wicket.
The wicket, yeah, the pitch or the wicket.
The wicket was the.
So they're the wickets.
Oh, just the S on the end.
Yeah, and the actual pitch or the wicket, the surface of it gets really wet. The ball gets really wet. Your clothes get wet. You get wet. You know, it's more of a summer sort of sport, and we've been blessed.
What happens to the thousands of people who pay for tickets to come, like today?
You know what? I don't know that much, but I think it's a little bit. It's either tough luck or it's come back the next day, or at some point you will get reimbursed, or because it's difficult. You can't really. If it rains for the whole week and you reimburse everybody, then it's difficult for the ground or whoever's running the cricket. But yeah, when it rains, it's frustrating, but then sometimes it's nice to have a day off.
Does the the people who come and watch the match, do they, like, when you buy a ticket for cricket, do you get to see the whole match, as in all of the days, or do you just is it just
so it's just for the day? Well, it depends what ticket you buy, but most of it's just for the day.
Did you ever used to go watch cricket when you were little?
Yeah, my dad took me often. I went with schools. I actually used to watch a lot of cricket and football, but mainly just to pick up things and try and understand the game a bit more, and it was my passion and something I really enjoy.
So I read that you're an all-rounder, and I don't really know what that means, other than obviously it must mean that you're just good at everything. And is that like an advantage in cricket, or is that a disadvantage? Because I imagine that in some aspects that's really good, because you'd always get picked, and then in other aspects you would think we need a really good batsman. Although I'm sure you're an amazing batsman, but you're not a specific batsman.
Okay, so if you're an all-rounder, you are somebody who bats and bowls.
Okay.
So
so loads of people are all-rounders.
No. So you're somebody who's good at batting and bowling, both. Okay. So you can play as a specialist batsman, and then you're going to bowl a few overs, or you're going to bowl and a lot of overs, or you're going to be part of the batting, which is really good for the balance of the team, really. If the more all-rounders you can get, the better for the team, because you kind of cover most bases. But I think the advantage of it is if somebody's as good as batter as you, but you bowl and he doesn't bowl, then you get into the side.
And what about you're a spinner, and so obviously that means that when you bowl you spin the ball.
Yeah.
But isn't if you're on the level of cricket that you play, surely everyone knows how to spin a ball?
No, it's different type of spinners. You got a leg spinner and a off spinner. Then you got the fast bowlers, the swing bowlers. So everyone has their own. Yeah, you specialize in that.
Come in.
And you bowl in spin. You can make a big difference, I guess. And not everybody is made out to be a spinner, or you pick the best spinner most of the time, or the best two spinners. And it's not just about and being a spinner is difficult, because you can get hit badly by the batsman, because you're a lot slower than the fast bowlers, but then you have more protection in the field and stuff. It's long. It's quite boring actually.
Is there like a proper science to it? There must be.
Yeah, there's
It's
it's
at
not.
that level.
Yeah, there's a lot more to than just being able to spin the ball. I mean, there's guys who can just spin a ball, and there's guys who can really spin the ball big.
And that's you. You're that guy.
No,
Let's be
no,
honest.
not massively, not massively. But for my role, or my type of spin, I spin the ball quite a bit. Yeah.
Okay, so then there's a few other things that so you're educating me right now on cricket. First of all, you play for Worcestershire, and recently you did really good.
Yeah,
right? You
alhamdulillah,
did good at batting or something recently.
Yeah.
So what did you win in the?
So we won the game. Yeah, I
And
batted
it's
and
you.
bowled. No, just because of me. There was other guys as well, but I made an impact.
You
Yeah,
smashed it.
I did okay. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
There's also an article right now in the news about your dad. Have you seen it?
No, somebody sent it to me today actually, and I read bits of it. Yeah.
Your dad. They got a picture of your dad. Mashallah, he looks so like happy.
It's got a tash.
Yeah. How much of an impact did your dad have in your life? Because you were speaking about him quite a lot.
Yeah, my dad's probably been the biggest person, inspiration, motivator, all that kind of stuff in my life.
Is he born here?
He was born here. Yeah, I lived in Pakistan actually. Born here, then lived in Pakistan for quite a lot of his youth, and then came over again. Lived here. He's loves cricket like more than probably anybody I know.
Really?
Probably too much actually, and he was a good player. Never felt like he had the opportunity and stuff, and then sacrificed pretty much everything for me and my brothers and my cousins to become professional cricketers.
Are your brothers and cousins also professional cricketers?
So my brother was a professional for probably 10 years. My cousin was a professional for probably a little bit longer. Played for England. My brother played for England A team. My younger brother was a second team player. My cousin played second team. So yeah, we all play. And they all coach now. My dad still runs a cricket academy in Birmingham and stuff.
Really?
Yeah, so
Do you see him a lot?
yeah, I see them often. When I'm in Birmingham, all I do is stay at home.
Did you not want to move to somewhere else, like outside Birmingham?
Me, no, never.
Yeah.
Nah, it's not. Home is home. Like I feel Birmingham is for me the best place. I come to London and I just hate the traffic. That's why I didn't come to you, by the way, today,
Yes,
because I couldn't get in a car and get in the traffic. Yeah.
It's alright.
But yeah, no, I just find Birmingham's all my friends are. I'm still best friends with like the guys I was in school with and stuff like that. So everything's there for me. If I move, it'll be probably abroad. It won't even.
Yeah, I can imagine like UAE or something.
Yeah, I don't know. It depends. I enjoy being in the sun. Or I hate the winters here, to be honest with you.
Really?
Yeah,
I
it's
love
too
the
cold, man.
winter.
It's not that I hate it. It's more I can't hack it. I've been for the last 14, 15 years. Every winter I go abroad. So I don't experience the winter as much. And
You go
then
to Umrah quite regularly, don't you?
I have been lately, yeah, alhamdulillah. As soon as I get a bit of time, I would rather obviously go to Umrah and things like that rather than go on holiday, and because I spend a lot of time away anyway. But yeah, for me, I really enjoy going there, and it's almost like it's the only place I go without taking my cricket bags with me. Yeah, so it's like different, you know what I mean? And it's good. And that's not the only bag I have. I have
Really?
massive bags, yeah.
I came in and I saw his bag. I was like, oh wow, this is what it's like to be in a hotel with like a professional sports person with their kids. Bro, back to kind of the topic of Islam and stuff. Hold on, how long ago did we order that food?
I don't know. Let me just quickly check.
Yeah, check that.
Try Samsung, and I love Samsung, man.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm an Apple man.
Yeah, I used to be the same.
I could never go on Samsung. Do you like Samsung now?
Yeah, it's so much better, man.
But is it because of the customizations? Because that's what everyone says. Everyone's like, oh, I prefer Samsung because you can customize the way it works and stuff.
Yeah, and yeah, it's so much easier.
Really?
I mean, easier wise in terms. Okay, the iPhone is easier in terms of doing stuff, but I feel is more convenient than what it is. I'm not a massive gadget guy, but I just find if I want to sign something or if I want to do stuff on there, it's easier for me to do it on there.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you into like gaming or like anything like that?
Not really, no.
Any kind of tech?
Nah. The only thing I'll do is play a bit of FIFA here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not into gaming at all, man. But I like my tech. I like my Apple products.
Yeah, no, I can
I'm
imagine.
biased because I used to work there, probably.
Yeah. No, they're good. They're very good. I don't know why I prefer the Samsung at the moment.
Alhamdulillah. The question I was gonna ask before we went for the break is, like Islamically, obviously, there's this. We have to kind of, everyone has rights over us in different fields, right? Like our parents, obviously, we know, and especially like our wives and our children, and being a sportsman, traveling so much. Does that ever not concern you, but do you feel like when I'm home, I want to give all my time to my family because I'm not here a lot anyway?
Yeah.
And do you ever fear that, like, you want to be around your children as much as you can, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, that's the one thing that's always probably on your mind most of the time. It's like you're away from home. I mean, in the winter they come out with you for a certain period of time and stuff. But you're doing so much traveling, you don't spend, like, even in the summer here, most of the time I'll be in the hotels all around the country. And they come here and there as well. But it's just difficult because you go home and you want to spend time with your family, your mother, your father, your brothers, and you probably got a day or so to do that.
Really?
In that window, yeah, most of the time.
Is that because you're traveling, or because everyone just wants a piece of you when you're back?
Because you're traveling and you only get time. And when you're back, that I want a piece of everybody, if that makes sense. And I just want to make sure everyone's fine, spend time with them, and just be around. And I like to then stay at home. But when I come home, it's nice to go out as well, to take the family out and stuff like that. So it's difficult, and then you don't spend much time with your kids and your nephews, and everyone's grown up, and you miss like all that kind of stuff, especially when you're away in the winter, when you're away for like 6-7 months. But then you think it's a little bit of a sacrifice that you got to do now for the future and for their future as well.
Are you smart with that kind of stuff, would you say?
Yeah, kind of. Sometimes there's times where I thought, what, I don't know how long I want to do this for now, because of that. And there's a certain age, like your kids start understanding and stuff, and you miss, like, if there's a wedding on or something like that in the family, and everybody's got their husbands there or their dads there, and then you're not there, and I guess they feel a bit left out sometimes, and you kind of, everybody understands, but naturally that feeling is for them. I guess it's quite hard as well. So you kind of have to weigh things up a little bit, and I just, at the moment, I see it as a bit of a sacrifice for now, but then inshallah make it up to them.
Inshallah. You come across like a really, with regards to like your personal life, you come across like a really private guy, and you're not like often you haven't got like the paps all around you, and you're not getting yourself in a lot of media controversy and stuff like that. And is that do you actively try and just keep that side of your life completely private?
I try, and you try and be as private as you can, even when it comes to probably Islamic stuff as well. I don't try and do too much. So you're very fortunate, mashallah. I don't actually do a lot of this kind of stuff, or
I was thinking that,
or go to like you go to the odd charity stuff, but I'll try and avoid as much as I can. I like even charity. I like to do that in my own private way, or form of doing charities and stuff. It's not something. I just try and be as private as I can. I don't see myself as a celebrity or a famous sort of person. I just want to get on normal, and I guess it helps me feel as normal as possible, as normal as I can. And I'm not that active on social media, or I do a little bit here and there, but it's not something I don't do it for the followers, or I don't do it for anything like that. If
you could do what you're doing now with regards to your cricket, and like almost remain unknown but still be at the level that you're at, is that something you would choose to do?
100%.
Really?
Yeah.
I can tell that by like just speaking to you and stuff.
No, 100%. It's not
Do you really come across Allahu Barak as a guy who you're not hungry for that fame, you're not hungry for that celeb status? Like your goal, you got your goals, you got your visions.
And it makes you realize how even the people that you think are unbelievable or like wow, you actually, when you spend time with them, or like you see someone who you're playing with or someone like that, they're just normal. Everyone just wants to be a normal human being most of the time, and they'll do the same things as you do. They'll most of the time eat the same food that you eat, and I don't know. I think in our minds we have this picture of, oh, he's doing this, or Bollywood actors this, but and it's like, oh my God, like they're just normal. They actually would rather spend time with people who don't want pictures and autographs and things like that. They'd rather have just a normal conversation, go to the normal grocery store and all that kind of stuff. And I try and be as normal as I can, really.
You don't do much TV and stuff either, do you?
No, I've done tiny bits before, but I kind of regret them a little bit at times. But
do you get asked a lot?
Yeah, you get asked to do a lot of things. A lot of people. One thing I have this probably against the Muslims a little bit is they feel because I'm a Muslim and I'm playing cricket that I owe something to everybody, if that makes sense. And everybody wants a piece of you, I guess, at times. And you kind of think, what?
I am my own person.
Exactly. I might have 2 days off in 3-4 weeks, and people are like, can you make some time for us? You got 2 days off here. Can you do this? I've got a family as well. You know what I mean? I want to go home and spend time in my own bed. I want to be in my own kitchen and my own lounge. I want to sit down as well. Like it's not as hectic, I guess, as some other celebrities or famous people, but it's like, it's hard. Like sometimes I just want to relax. I just want to go to a local burger place and have just a normal, just be with the lads, with the boys or whatever it is. Just want to be as normal as I can.
Yeah, you know what? As you say that, it's just like, it's so true that I suppose like in maybe I don't know if it's like the Asian community or the Muslim community, but there's this like concept that if somebody else is Asian or Muslim, the only word I could think of is the word that my nan used to use, and she used to say like apne, like it's like our people, and but then the problem is that like they all of a sudden feel like too comfortable around you, and it's like, okay, yes, alhamdulillah, we have similarities, but why is it that you treat me almost differently to the way you treat my teammate or my colleague, because I too share the same beliefs as you. Like I also am deserving of respect or space, or like we're not, like respectably, but we're not best friends. Like you can't really speak to me like that. You must get that.
You get that. You just mentioned that, and what comes to my mind, one of my biggest things that actually I don't get angry very often, but one of the things that really gets me going sometimes is I will be sat there with maybe 3-4 Muslim brothers who are probably not as practicing or whatever, but they're my friends. Somebody will see me, I say, oh, he's a cricketer, come over, like come dive over, like assalamu alaikum brother, and then how you doing, this and that, and I think, bro, these guys are Muslims too. You know what I mean? Like give them salams as well, like or that kind of stuff. At least shake their hands as well. Don't just single me out. Okay, you might recognize me as a cricketer, but at least give your salams as well. Like don't make them feel left out, and that is the one thing that really not annoys me but gets me going a little bit.
So I have a friend called Onali who is my best friend, and he has been with me to a lot of like YouTuber events or like influencer stuff, or like stuff where there's a lot of like for example, Light Upon Light, where there's a lot of people who are I don't know, Muslim bloggers and stuff, so they have even a small bit of following. And he's with me a majority of the time if I'm like out and about. He's the guy that I'm with, and he really has seen he said he really disliked that he'll see a lot of like influencers or like bloggers and stuff come into a room and they'll give salam only to the people who are like also have some sort of following, but like they almost like ignore the other people in the room, and he feels that's like his pet peeve. Like he really can't stand that, because it's like you're only respecting the people who in your eyes I don't know, maybe you having that connection with them will give you a bit of social clout, or some like, oh yeah, like so you don't care about the other people because they can't do nothing for you.
Yeah.
And that's a pet peeve that he has too.
Yeah, that's exactly my kind of point, where we should try it, and it's not always easy, and sometimes you might do it out of mistake or you forget or whatever, but try and treat everybody the same. Like if you're around a group of people, then okay, you might have something more in common with the guy on the left, but at least acknowledge that there's other people around, show your respect to them and show them respect as well. So I guess it's actually, you know, it's actually the way the Prophet teaches us in general. Like he never, you know, looked down on anybody or thought he was bigger than anybody, or he treated everybody the same. You know, there might have been some of the Sahaba or whoever was around that probably felt a little bit lower than other people, but he never made people feel like that. And one of the things I read once was like that everybody thought the Prophet was
his favorite person.
Yeah. And that is an amazing quality.
Is that
is an amazing quality. Like I remember reading that or coming across that and thinking, oh, wow, what a man. Like that is how we should be. And this is a person, you know, peace be upon him, who had everything and was probably the busiest person, the most famous person in terms of well known and stuff. And even the Sahabis were the same. And kind of there's so much we can learn from them and their example that actually nowadays I think is needed the most.
I remember I had the same reaction when I read that narration, and it also said that, like, you know, when people speak to him, peace upon him, he would turn his
full
entire
body
to them and direct them to them, really listen. And I think that's something that we don't do anymore, man, and it's missing. And so when you do come across people like that, you feel amazed. Yes, subhanAllah. I was just mentioning that kind of that you do stay away from public eye and stuff like that. And just before we finish, before the food comes, I did want... Oh, and it's almost Maghrib time.
Maghrib time, yeah.
Oh, it is Maghrib time.
Yeah, so.
Should we pray before the food comes? Should we pray now?
Yeah, we pray now.
Okay, we'll take a quick Maghrib break, and then just before we go, I do want to end the podcast, but I just want to touch on one last thing, which was the kind of big thing that was in the news with regards to the bracelet, the Palestine bracelet. So we'll go into that inshallah after our Maghrib break, and then I will give you back your evening.
No worries, bro.
Inshallah.
Barakallah.
Alhamdulillah, so we're back from our Maghrib break. So yeah, the last thing I want to touch on, just before we finish up, is that recording? I can't remember. Did it say REC? Yeah, okay. Yeah. So the thing that I think, unfortunately, probably most I remember a lot of you all over the news at the time when this whole wristband thing happened. And so from what I know, you were playing an international game and you had wristband on that said something about Palestine, and it caused an uproar. What exactly went down? So
we were playing here actually, Lords in London, and so before I came to the ground to London, I was in Birmingham and I was just out with my brothers, and we, you know, like you get, at the time there was a lot happening in Gaza and stuff, and obviously everybody, all Muslims feel affected by it and feel like you can do something. And there's a guy who was selling shirts, wristbands, and just caps and whatever it was, just to try and raise some money. So I had all my brothers there and my friends, and we ended up buying quite a lot. Just put wristbands on. But I was quite into it as well at the time. And then I came here and I had it on at practice, and no one really said anything. There's like, what is that? And there's like some guys are like, oh, you know, what's Gaza? What is Gaza?
Really?
Yeah. And it's like, so you're trying to explain.
You're speaking about the football.
Yeah, probably. And I just wore them during the game, and thought nothing of it. I was playing, and then all over the papers, like, and then
was it like the next day?
No, during the game. So I came off, and our media lady at the time, she was like, you know, you're all over the internet. I was like, what do you mean? I didn't even play that well. That's what I was thinking. And she was like, oh, because of your wristbands. And I was like, what about them? And they're like, oh, like it's been a big uproar and we're going to have to take them off and stuff. And I said, why should I take them off? Because other people had like Help for Heroes and all that kind of stuff as well. So I thought, why should I take them off? And bear in mind, this is only my third game, I think.
For England?
Fourth game for England test team.
Really?
Yeah. Sorry, it wasn't here. It was in Southampton. And I was like, okay, so like, what's the problem? I don't understand. So then we had to take them off. Whatever, the ICC guy was like, oh, you have to take them off. Actually, England Cricket Board were fine with it. It was the ICC who run the whole of cricket, and they gave me a warning and stuff like that. And it just became.
Did they give you like a fine, like financial fine?
No. They said the next one will be a fine.
Oh.
But then I was like, it's not political. It's humanitarian, like.
Humanitarian.
Yeah, humanitarian. So it's like, it's not my. I don't understand why. They were like, no, we see it as a political thing and stuff. So I said, okay, you see it like that. It's got whatever. And it was so big, like it became, for me, it was like at the time, it was not really been in the news apart from making my debut and all that. All of a sudden, like it's big in the news. I had like death threats and.
Really?
Yeah.
When you say death threats, how? Because you hear a lot of time like celebrities say they get death threats and stuff. In what form do they come?
So
like,
in letters, social media, mainly.
Letters through your door.
Yeah, it was actually through to the ECB, and so I got a pile of letters, and a lot of them were like death threats. Some people were like, "Oh, we're gonna leave the MCC" and all that kind of stuff.
Really?
And it's like it was quite a bit of an eye opener. But you know what? I don't regret it, and I'm glad, actually the purpose of me wearing the wristbands and the awareness of people understanding what's happening got out there, even if it was to one person. It got there, and without naming any names, guys in my team, big players in the team, were then started to understand what was going on, who didn't have a clue what was going on or didn't know what Gaza was, or Palestine, Israel, and all that kind of stuff, what was actually happening. And then I would explain, and that's it really. And then it got to a certain point where even giving the charity was towards Gaza and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I guess Muslims were obviously happy and proud about it. And you know what, actually, we auctioned the wristbands off, the very wristbands off somewhere a few years ago. So
you
yeah.
kept that one, did you? Until you auctioned it?
They auctioned it off, yeah. So yeah, I mean, it was just one of those things that actually, it is what it is. It is what it is. But actually, I'm glad I did it, and I didn't have that intent where it's gonna go. I didn't do it because I want people to see me with it or for it to blow up in a big way, but it actually just happened like that. So yeah, alhamdulillah, it's good.
Alhamdulillah. Well, Moeen, I want to say that subhanAllah, I didn't know what to expect from doing a podcast with you. I know that I wanted to really do an episode, and I'm gonna send you a link to the video that I'm gonna make. Not this podcast video, but I'm gonna send you a link to a video that I'm gonna make where I was like, oh, like Moeen Ali's gonna do the podcast. I'll send that to you when it's done. But in a nutshell, we've been trying to create this thing with Freshly Grounded where we just want, I think originally our intention was just young Muslims, but we've actually experienced it with Muslims and non-Muslims, but we want young Muslims to feel like they're not alone, and just to feel like, yes, they're Muslim, but they can just be a practicing Muslim and then still just, live their life, have fun, be successful, and be like yourself, as successful as you can get in your field, and still completely stick to your morals. And my thing was that the person that I want to interview the most is Moeen Ali, because he's a person who is like, that I see as the most mainstream yet kept them morals to like a complete. And I know you would say I'm a sinner and is that the other, and we all are, alhamdulillah, Allah covers our sins, but you really are that person for me, and you're an inspiration for me first and foremost, and a lot of the young Muslims, and like I said, I didn't know what to expect to do this interview with you, and my expectations have just like I can't put into words what it's been like to do this interview and to realise you've actually become even more of an inspiration to me now, because to see someone at the level of success that you have, but to be so humble with it, and to be like, I would trade it all in to be the person like who you see as your role model, like people with the Quran, and you know, it's not and you can ripple. Oftentimes you see in interviews with celebrities, and you see them say stuff like, oh, you know, it's not about the fame and this, that, the other. But when you see you and you speak to you don't have to say that for me to look at you and to know that it's not the fame that you're after, and it's not the celebrity status, and you love cricket, and you love what you do, and you love your family, you love your religion, and alhamdulillah, you're just living your life how you want to live your life. And for that, bro, rather than saying, you know, congratulations, I'd rather say thank you, jazakallahu khair, because that is an inspiration to all of us, and it shows all of us that, you know what, you can be successful, but also if we are trying to seek fame or trying to seek attention, we can look to someone who has that and says, it's really not all that, guys. You should really value being able to go to the shops or go to your local chicken shop with your boys and just enjoying life. And so for that, I want to say thank you, may Allah bless you, continue to give you success, khair in this dunya and in the akhirah. And you're always more than welcome to come back onto the podcast, and I thank you for being so kind to be on it. And that's all, man. So
no, jazakallah khair. Just like from 2 little messages that when you were speaking there, like, it's the first one, I would say, is the reason. Okay, I don't see it as a platform or like or anything like that, but the reason why I'm on the platform is obviously, firstly, I feel Allah has put me there, but also because of the people's du'as. You know, like I genuinely feel as a cricketer, yes, you need a bit of talent and all that kind of stuff, but it's mainly through the people's du'as, like that I get to play on TV in front of people and all that. Even though it doesn't mean a lot to me, but I know that there's people who pray for me, and I just want to say jazakallah khair, but also pray for my afterlife and for me to be good and steadfast and all that kind of stuff. And just to say, you know, jazakallah khair. And the other thing I wanted to say, but I can't remember what it was now, but it was something like, as a Muslim, as a younger Muslim, when I was a little bit younger, there's a lot of confusion around sometimes with who to follow, all that kind of stuff. Should I really do it? Should I not do it? Do I need to let my beard grow? And all these kind of things. And actually, before you go to bed or before you go to sleep or whatever, just lie down and actually think, why are you here? Like, think deep. Sometimes you kind of avoid those questions, and I feel, think deep about them. And with regards to who to follow and, you know, are these guys on it? Are these guys on it? Distance yourself away from all that. Literally don't even bother getting into arguments. And because we've had scholars and sheikhs who debate each other for years and years and do so much study, we actually don't have any knowledge about these kind of things. And there's more to it than just a couple of hadiths and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, honestly, make dua, be sincere for Allah to guide you on that straight path. I'm not saying I'm on that straight path or, you know, the brothers, but actually be sincere and you will see almost like the doors open and how clear things can be and how actually easy Islam is in terms of how Allah has made it easy for us to pray our prayers and all that kind of stuff. So that would be my actual message, and I've wanted to do this for a while actually from a Muslim point of view, but I've never really, I don't want to act like a sheikh or, you know, a mufti or all these kind of things. I've just thought, you know what, actually there's so much confusion. As a young, I was confused at one point, and I thought, you know what, I distanced myself away from that, almost speak to certain people and stuff. And, you know, if you're sincere, then inshallah Allah will open it up for you and you will genuinely see it. So jazakallah khair for having me. No, jazakallah khair for having me.
Yeah, it's been amazing. Guys, this was Freshly Grounded, episode 65. I'm sure you guys loved it as much as I loved recording it and being with Brother Moeen in it. And we pray for his success in this life and the next. And this is Freshly Grounded. We're out.